Ain't it the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? The wide and ever dark expanse of the void, the twinkling stars, all the colourful vapours out there in the distance? Why, there are many who, on seeing it for the first time, can remark only on the emptiness. But a true spacefarer looks upon the inky blackness before them and sees it for what it is. A realm ripe with possibility and adventure. Wildspace. Say, occurs to me just now, I've never asked your name. You do have a name, eh? So you're the silent type, eh? No name you care to share? Well, that's fine. You'd not be the first. Most folk just call me Quartermaster, after all. How about I just give you a nickname then, Something like Snog. Silent, nameless adventurer of an undisclosed gender. No? Don't like Snog? Well, I suppose we'll just keep on calling you Swabby then. Now, Swabby, you'll recall, as you saw through the window below decks, your world hangs in a great void, as does its sun and its moon. We spacefarers call this void Wildspace, because, you see, it's a great open space where wild things happen, from time to time. What manner of wild things, you ask? Trade, mostly, and sometimes evangelism, if you're the holy sort. I suppose. Most of the ships you'll encounter in Wildspace are merchant ships, hawking all manner of mundane and magical wares between worlds. That's right, I said worlds. You see, all of the space bodies out there are often home to their own societies, and that includes your sun and your moon, your asteroids and neighbouring planets, all of them. And so an enterprising crew can make the sort of fortune what would make a dragon blush, just by carrying rare goods between worlds and selling them where they're needed most. Why, there was a time when I was a young quartermaster aboard a hammer ship crewed entirely by lizard folk. Oh, we were hauling 13 crates of fine chainmail shirts on our way to Space, where steel is especially valuable. But after some trouble with the elves, the only place we could offload the crates quickly was the primeval world Comporalon. Can you imagine? Oh, and there goes the glimmer in your eyes. No interest in tales of mercantile daring and financial do, eh? Well, how about you and your quartermaster have a seat by the guardrail right there? The captain won't be above deck for a while yet, and I've a tale what might address that appetite for adventure. It's the tale of a certain John Tobart, a spelljamming captain, driven by vengeance, and his heroic crew, who undid a terrible plot, what would have destroyed countless worlds across the multiverse. It's got beholders, of course, and magic animals what were turned into men. There's even a giant golem, not to mention strange landscapes trapped inside the chambers of the largest doomsday device the multiverse has ever known. You know, the sort of everyday thing what happens all the time in Wildspace. Now, most storytellers like to claim this tale begins in one of the great cities of the multiverse. Palanthus of Space, Waterdeep or Neverwinter of Realmspace, the free cities of Greyhawk or Divers in Greyspace. Now, if you were to add 100 other cities, towns, villages, hamlets, and thorps to that list, well, you'd soon understand that no one knows where the story started, except the people who were there, so half the details are just made up for effect, which is often the way of things with spacefarers telling stories. All anyone can agree on is that an otherwise lovely morning in some quiet market square, somewhere in the multiverse, was ruined when 2 tons of iron anchor came crashing down from the sky above. Children screamed, women ran for cover, men fainted on the spot. It was chaos in the streets, it was. At least until the dust from the crushed merchant's cart finally settled. But just then...
Wowee! Look at that rope! I'm gonna climb it, just watch!
Said a fool child who slipped past all the adults as quick as a lick and began to climb the thick rope what stretched up from the anchor and into the clouds. And would you believe that fool child made it as high as 100 feet before a strong wind sent the rope into a terrible whip, which threw the idiot youngster into the gathered crowd below.
Whoops! Oh no!
It would have taken a miracle to survive that fall. But survive he did. Oh, with a few broken bones, of course, and a story to tell. But the child lived. Of course, who could say if the next fool to climb the rope would be so lucky? No one could say, that's who. And so the concerned townsfolk brought in the guard, who set about keeping the people from getting too close to that mysterious anchor. And they did have their work cut out for them, for by the time the guard had arrived there, a real crowd had gathered as well, with coin they'd not yet spent at the market. And to a number of enterprising folk, that crowd and all their coin sure did look like an audience in need of a show. First came the local doomsayers, who were bellowing about the end of the world.
Behold! The ships of the gods themselves have come for us, and soon their fishing lines shall be cast, taking up the very souls of the faithful while we sinners languish. Behold! Behold! Behold, the end of the world is at last upon us, wretched fools!
Then came the local officials, who started puffing up their chests and giving their important speeches.
Don't listen to the naysayers, my friends. Please calm down. It is evident to all reasonable citizens that a wizard of great might has decided to, lasso the moon. Yeah, lasso the moon, and here in our fair city, no less. And are we not a hospitable people, a modern people, who fully support the enterprising spirit of whomever is behind this? Why, we may never worry about the tides again.
So much doom!
Even the local colour got in on the act, as a number of local bards got busy singing songs about the anchor to anyone who would drop a coin in a hat.
Oh, the anchor fell from the sky. Nobody was hurt, nobody died. But where did it come from, and where is its ship? It's up in the clouds. Please, remember to tip.
All while the merchants turned a laden day gold by selling scraps of string and twine as keepsakes to mark the day the anchor fell, claiming they came from its rope and for coppers apiece no less. Oh, it was a busy day at the market, it was indeed, and who should have been there to witness it all but a band of heroes, just returned to the city after one of their recent adventures. Mind you, much as no one can agree on where this all took place, just as few can agree on who took part. Some say there were 4 in the party, others say there were 6, and the only detail anyone's certain of is that one of them was a sailor, and another was a spellcaster. And it was the sailor who first noticed that the 10-foot by 8-foot anchor had been made not of iron, but of a peculiar metal. Mostly iron, but alloyed with something bright and silvery. Adamantium, maybe? Or mithril? No one can say for sure, but it is fun to think about. More importantly, the anchor showed no signs of corrosion, meaning it had never met the sea. This told our sailor that the anchor was new, or that whatever it was attached to was something other than a flying sea vessel. Or both, I suppose. Just as curious was the rope, which they realized was surprisingly thin, a mere 3 inches thick and woven from several smaller cords, made of the same unknown metal seen in the anchor. It was fortunate then that the spellcaster had prepared the right spells earlier that morning, for a quick casting of Detect Magic revealed that it was a magical rope, and that it had been bound to the anchor by means of a wizard lock. Now, whether the wizard who cast that lock could be found at the other end of that magic rope was a mystery which would soon be answered. For high up, above the clouds, beyond the sight of those on the ground below, a man of singular importance was stepping out onto the deck that would carry him down along that rope to the market below. A singular man with a singular purpose. Finding a group of adventurers who could deliver to him the one and only thing he desired in all the multiverse. Vengeance.
Thank you very much for watching, and an extra special thank you to everyone who contributed voice lines to this video. The D&D community is a wonderful place to feel welcome, and I appreciate you all playing along with me as I figure out ways to make these lore videos as dynamic and engaging as they should be. Don't forget to subscribe and click the ringy-dingy bell so you're sure to catch the next lore video. And if you enjoy the content and want it to come out more frequently, consider supporting me on Patreon. Thanks again.